Hey guys, and welcome back to Top Speed Golf. Today we got a great video for you from a member of the website, Ed. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ed, for sending in your swing. And we're going to talk about a couple of things that he was struggling with. He said he felt like he really rushed from the top, like he felt like he was losing distance, losing lag, had a lot of tension in his shoulders, and mentioned that he has some blocks to the right and even some pull hooks. So we're going to talk about a couple things with his swing that he does really well, and also a couple of things that are going to allow him to feel more powerful and to feel smoother in the swing, get rid of that tension, and really start compressing the golf ball. So if that sounds good to you guys, let's go and get started. All right, so the first thing we'll talk about is as he's taking his backswing here from the face-on view, we'll notice that he can get a little bit more of a shoulder turn going back, and we'll see that as he goes to the top of the swing, the shoulders are probably only rotating somewhere in the ballpark of about 70 to 75 degrees, somewhere in there. If we go from right shoulder tip to shoulder tip, as far as like if you're looking at an x-ray, you'd be looking at the socket itself. And what happens from here is if we don't get a good full turn going back, now we don't have a lot of room to accelerate as we're starting down. So as soon as he starts down, he really feels like he has to accelerate the hands, arms, and he mentioned that his shoulders feel really tight. And that happens a lot of times when we don't get this good full turn. So you can kind of equate it to a drag race. If you had a car and you're trying to accelerate in a drag race and you only have 60 feet to accelerate, where you're going to have to accelerate as fast as you can, almost burn the tires out to try to get accelerating so fast. And you're not going to be able to reach your top speed in that very short 60-foot distance. Now imagine you had 2 miles to accelerate. Well, you can go much more smoothly, much more in control, and you're going to be able to reach that top speed because you can do that over time. And the same thing happens in the golf swing. So what we'd like to have happen here is if he can feel like he lets his hips rotate a little bit more. His hips aren't rotating all that much. I would feel like if you had a string tied to the back of your right hip pocket, imagine somebody is pulling a string and turning your hip that way, and you had a string turned to tied to the front of your left hip pocket, somebody's going to be pulling you that way, and that's going to allow those hips to rotate a little bit more. And then from there, he wants to make sure that he goes ahead and feels like he continues to rotate the shoulders until he gets to at least 90 degrees, or preferably even a little bit more than 90 degrees. One of the things that's going to help with this too is just to be slightly tilted away from the target a bit more, so we can see how his upper body is kind of straight up and down here. We talk about in the stable and fluid spine getting tilted away a little bit more, and that's one of the big keys in our system. That's going to help him to turn a bit more. Overall, though, he does a pretty good job with the stable fluid spine. And then as he starts down, now he's going to feel like he can much more gradually accelerate. So he's not going to feel like he's so much in a rush to accelerate as he's going down. One of the videos that I definitely recommend you watch is this video number 1.1 in the Power Turn series, where we talk about how to rotate and get that good powerful turn going back. And then now you're going to have tons of room, like that 2-mile drag strip, to where you can accelerate to the top speed. Also, be sure to watch video 2.1 where we talk about focusing in on getting those hips to turn in the backswing, and I got a great drill for you guys in that video also. But for those of you who want to practice this today, just feel like that right hip is turning back toward the target, the left hip is turning away from the target, and then the shoulders are going to go to at least 90. If you want to put a club across your shoulders, make sure that that club's pointing across the shoulders. His would be pointing about like this now. We want to get that club pointing all the way over here to where it's pointing outside the right foot in this direction to make sure he's getting that good full turn. So that's what's going to really help him to be able to accelerate the club much more gradually over time. Now, if we take a look at the video over here on the left, let me change my camera alignment. There we go. Another thing that he was struggling with and mentioned is that he tends to block some shots out to the right and tends to hook some shots a little bit to the left. So when this happens, we'll go to the top of the swing again, and now he feels like he's all the way back, but remember, his shoulders haven't turned very far, and we can see here that the hips haven't rotated quite as much as we would like. Now he's going to feel in that rush to start from the top, and in that rush, you can see how the hands and arms get a little bit, quick from the top, and that can get the club swinging out. Now, one thing I will mention is if we're blocking and if we're hitting pull hooks, so let's go ahead and just 1 second here. Let me bring that back down. if we're blocking and we're hitting pull hooks, what that means is that our path of the club is going to the right. And he mentioned that he thought he might be coming over the top, and it's really not an over the top in his swing. He's just feeling the quickness from his shoulders. But let's imagine that the target is right here. This is the target we're going to in the distance. Now, if our club path is to the right, let's say it's going 10 yards to the right of the target. Now, depending on where our club face is, we can get a variety of different shots. So if our path is 10 yards to the right of the target, our path of the club, the direction the club's moving through contact, is over here to the right, and our face is matched up with that. So we're tracing right down the right path with the club face. Now all of a sudden that ball is just going to go straight right. That's going to be your block. And that's what a lot of people struggle with that get quick from the top. The club gets stuck in behind the body. They start fast with the body, and then see how the club is a little bit inside of the hands? That's fine unless we're accelerating too fast with the body, and then it's easy to get that club swinging out to the right a little too much as he's coming through contact. But if that path is to the right and the face to the right, we're going to get a block. If the path is to the right and the face is straight, what's going to happen with the ball flight laws, if the face is pointing toward the target, the ball with an iron is going to start, roughly 80% the direction of the face. So it's going to start, this ball is going to start about right here, this direction. And it's going to curve. Now, this is a pretty simplified example of this, but we're assuming a lot of things, that you hit it dead on the center of the sweet spot. We're assuming that it's an iron shot. But we're going to say that usually, as a good rule of thumb, is that the ball is going to curve about twice as much as the difference between the face and the path. So the face was at the target, the path was 15 yards right of the target. Usually that ball is going to come up here and it's going to curve and be a draw and end up 15 yards to the left. So you can imagine, let's say that path gets a little bit more to the right and our face gets just a little bit more to the left. All right, so actually let's go ahead and get rid of all these lines so it's sitting as confusing here. Let me back out of these. So we're going to pretend like this club's going a little bit more to the right. Let's say 20 yards to the right. And this face just gets a little bit closed, 5 or 10 yards to the left. Well, now all of a sudden, this ball is starting about 80% the direction of the face. It's starting barely left of the target, but now it's really going to start to curve and to hook. This is what most people call a pull hook, and that's what he described, struggling with. But in reality, the pull hook is a path to the right, and the face is just barely close to the target. The ball starts a little left and then goes even farther to the left. If we were actually pulling the ball and hooking it and was swinging to the left, that ball would really be moving a lot. I mean, it would start 40 yards left and then move even more, because if the path was to the left and the face was even more to the left, that means the ball would start going to the face. So for example here, let me go ahead and, I know that sounds a little bit confusing. Let me simplify that for you guys that may be a little bit confused by that. If my path is already 15 yards to the left and my face is another 15 yards to the left at contact, well, that ball is going to start way over to the left if it's going to be a hook, right? And then that ball is going to draw, right, 15 yards left of my face line. So if you were actually to pull hook one, and it's moving more than 15 or 20 yards, it should be starting way to the left and hooking way even more. I mean, I haven't hardly seen anybody. I've taught thousands of people, both online and in person, and I've only seen a handful that were actually swinging to the left and still hooking the ball, and that was pretty rare. Usually you don't see that. So the path of this club was going a little bit to the right, and that again comes from being quick from the top. So what I'd recommend for Ed to work on here is, as he's going to the top of the swing, to really feels like he gives himself plenty of time to finish the swing, get a good shoulder turn, get those hips rotating a little bit more, finish the shoulder turn, and then from there he's going to feel like he can accelerate much more gradual. Now, last thing I'll work on here is he mentioned a little bit of the lag. So what happens when struggling with a little bit of lag? What happens when we get quick from the top? So we start to spin out, and now all of a sudden the shoulders are rotating very quickly back in behind the body. So the shoulders are rotating this way. Well, now all of a sudden that creates an opposite force with the arms. So the shoulders start to spin out that way. Now there's a lot of force in the arms because the shoulders are spinning fast going this way, and that's going to kind of throw the club out away from your body. So the faster we try to spin open, faster we try to rotate open, then that's going to tend to throw the club out away from the body. So again, what I want you to visualize here is as you go to the top, get a bigger turn, much more full turn, and then as you start down, the first few 6 or 8 inches as you start down, instead of letting that club get farther away from your shoulder, I want you to go nice and slow and actually feel like this club is dropping back in closer to your shoulder. So the club's going to be more on this red line that I'm drawing here. And you're actually increasing lag as you're starting the downswing and feeling like that's going nice and slow. Then you can go ahead and release the club. So hopefully that helps out. It's going to help you to get a lot more speed and to feel a lot more smooth as you're doing that. So good luck. Work on those. I do at least a couple hundred drills where you get good hip turn, good shoulder turn without a club. So you're just turning the hips and shoulders back, turning them through that good power turn like we go over in the top speed golf system. And then number 2, I want you to work on increasing that lag. Going to do about 100 or 200 repetitions starting out with a club. You're going to build on that good turn you had going back. As you start down, feel like that club starts to set a little bit more. As you finish those, you'll have about 400 repetitions without even hitting a ball at all. And that's going to get you so much more comfortable when you actually do go back out to the course and start making some full swings. So good luck to you guys. Work hard, Ed, and hope it helped you guys out. I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, guys, I got a great bonus for you all that are joining me on YouTube. So first off, there's going to be a preview of a lag video, the #1 lag mistake that I see in golf. I know we touched a little bit on lag in this review, but I'm going to get a lot more in detail in that video. And we're going to talk about how to greatly increase your lag. So there's going to be a preview that pops up here in a second, and you can click a link that pops up in your screen or down below in the description. You'll be able to watch that instantly, get instant access. Plus, you're going to get 5 bonus videos that go over the top speed golf system. And one of those videos, video 1.1, is the one that I mentioned that earlier in this review that talks about how to increase your club head speed with the power turn. So I go an overview of the power turn for you guys in more detail than I went in this particular video. So you're going to get that video included when you click the link here in a second, plus the other 5 videos. So you're going to get 6 videos in total. Great lag video, a great power turn video. It's going to help you to increase that club head speed for those of you who may be struggling and not feeling like you can accelerate smoothly like we talked about in this one. So good luck to you guys. Go ahead and click the button to get access to the lag video, and I'll see you all there. Hi guys, and welcome back. I'm Clay Ballard, and in today's video we're going to talk about one of the absolute worst drills for creating lag. It's a very common drill that I see. And in this drill, what we're going to do is we're going to set the wrist very early to create an angle of lag, and then we're going to try to hold this throughout the swing. It's one of the worst things that you can do to build lag. I'm going to talk about the science behind why this is the case, and I'm also going to give you a great drill to help you improve your lag, all in this video. Let's go ahead and get started. I do it this way versus holding that position. Exact same thing happens when we're building the lag in the golf swing. So what we want to do is throughout the swing, I want to have a very low and wide takeaway. So I'm not going to set my wrist early at all. If you look at a lot of the top players, you look at Adam Scott, very wide takeaway, not very much wrist set at all. You look at Rory McIlroy, you look at Tiger Woods. All these players are using a wide takeaway and not getting very much wrist set, so that later in the swing, as we start down, we can increase this wrist set, and we're really only going to max out this angle of lag for a split second in the downswing. Okay, so a 3-step drill here. Now, as we get started with this, I want to remind you that the fulcrum in this golf club for getting a massive amount of lag is right at the end of the golf club. This is where I want my hinge point to be. I want to use the full length of this club to build lag and then release lag.